Joe Madison is with us, the host of The Joe Madison Show, airing weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. on Sirius Channel 128. His website, joemadison.com. Joe, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me, and I hope the quality is okay. I'm doing grandfather duties, picking up my grandson from school, so this is a perfect time. I'm caught in Washington traffic.
Okay. Well, the audio sounds fine, and you can hang with us for the next 25 minutes?
I think we can work that out.
Okay, great. We at 1:45, we have a hard bump into a break. We'll continue. It'll just be about 6 seconds out. We'll continue with our TV and Pacifica affiliates through that break. There'll be a hard bump out, and we'll come back at 10 to rejoin all our commercial stations, and that'll take us to the top of the hour. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
We'll see what we can work out. Sure.
Just so you know our clock. And I wanted to invite our listeners to call in if you want to talk with Joe. Joe Madison is here with us. Joe, you and I talked after the verdict came down in this case of the murder of Jordan Davis, but we didn't know what the jury was thinking or what was going on in the jury room. Now, one of the jurors has come out and said that originally it was 10-2 for conviction. It ended up 9-3, for conviction, but it had to be unanimous because it was first-degree murder. But the state of Florida allows a jury to change the charge. The charge was first-degree murder. The jury could have said, well, okay, we're deadlocked on first-degree murder, but we're going to convict him of second-degree murder, in other words, without premeditation, but with malice, or we're going to convict him of manslaughter. No malice, it was an accident, but one that could have or should have been avoided. What are your thoughts? What are your listeners saying? I'm curious about both.
Well, let's start with what my listeners are saying. To the person, they are outraged. Again, they firmly believe, like juror number 4 said in the interview, that Dunn basically got away with murder. Right. I wasn't aware of all the things you just said in reference to what Florida law allows, so that really didn't come up. Because my audience for the course, and we've been going at this since the verdict came down on Saturday, Tom, they believe that it should have been first-degree murder. They find it ironic at how you can actually find him guilty of second-degree murder or second-degree attempted murder. And then when a killing is actually committed, it's not murder. It just did not make any sense. So clearly, they're now talking about repealing this law. And people are also talking about selective buying campaigns, another word for boycotting the state of Florida. So there are people who are outraged to the point that they're prepared to take some kind of action, and they're looking at other states that have stand your ground law. We even talked to an activist in Ohio that said that a stand your ground, and I'm calling it a shoot first law.
Right, me too. Stand your ground, shoot first.
That's right. Change the terminology.
Yep.
And they are now saying that a similar law is in committee in Ohio. So, so that's where we are with this. But,
Joe,
but clearly, Tom, there were 2 to 3 people in that room who believed that stand your ground was what should have been considered.
Joe, isn't this, and shouldn't we be recognizing this as a cultural statement that a white man can go before a jury and say that he is so fearful of black teenagers that the jury ends up essentially agreeing with him that he legitimately feared for his life, in large part because they were black, and therefore had to shoot. Whereas, had it been a black man who was saying to a car full of, whoa, excuse me, my computer just went nuts. If it was a black man who was saying to a car full of white teenagers who were all, preppies from Andover or something, saying, I was so afraid I had to shoot into their car, a jury wouldn't buy that there's no fear. That what we're seeing here is a continuation of this, actually of that piece of our culture, and that the Stand Your Ground, Shoot First laws basically legalize the murder of African Americans based on the cultural norm, at least in the white community, of, oh my God, those people are scary, but do not legalize the murder of anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, look, first of all, you and I have been around long enough to know that it's all based on stereotype and perception, the undervaluing, underestimating, the marginalizing of black life. This is not new. This goes back to the beginning of this country.
Yep.
And it runs deep. I refer to it as cultural conditioning. And cultural conditioning is something that's very real. But you've explained it. It does go on. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. Look, it goes on with targeting. Let me get. Do you remember the days of when, if you drove a nice car down the New Jersey Turnpike, or you went down 95 here on the East Coast, maybe let's say from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C., you could be pulled over, and older black people who had nice cars were pulled over. Their cars were searched only because of the perception that they might be drug dealers.
Right.
Look, this goes on. It's a part of our culture. If a black person moves into a predominantly white neighborhood, then you've got blockbusting going on by realtors. I mean, that's how deep it goes. And I said it this morning on my show. If that had been some WWF wrestlers, 4 white guys who look like NFL football linemen playing loud music in their car, I guarantee you he wouldn't have gone over there and said a word to those folks. There's something called mind your own business. And that's all he had to do, was mind his own business. I've gone into gas stations. You have gone into gas stations. Kids are thumping the music. It's coming across the speaker so loud it vibrates on your chest. You sort of shake your head, but you don't go over and tell them turn the music down. You mind your own business. You get what you're going to buy, and you move on. And
right.
You can say what you want to about them, but you don't go pulling a gun out.
Yeah.
Yes, this is just Tom. It runs. It's deep in this country. It is very, very deep. And here's something I think people ought to understand, no matter what your color is. There's an entire generation of young people who aren't going to put up with it. They're not going to be fearful. They're not going to be intimidated. My children are that way. They are respectful. And you know my children. They're very respectful, very intelligent kids. But you know what? They've been taught to be their own person.
Yeah.
And they're not going to sit up there and be intimidated by somebody simply because they don't like their music, or be perceived as thugs because they don't.
But doesn't this verdict say to black teenagers, look out for white people?
No, I don't think so. I wouldn't say that. I think what this verdict says is that there's what you just said at the beginning of this interview, that a white a black life is less valued than a white life.
Oh, well, that's my point. Look out for white people because they can shoot you with impunity, basically.
Well, you better hope that that's not the case, because there might be some black kids that might shoot back.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
We better hope that that's not the case.
Okay, Joe. Here comes that bump out I was telling you about. We'll be hang on to the phone though. Stick around with us. We'll be back with more of Joe Madison, and we'll got a bunch of people who are calling in too, want to get in on this conversation. So we'll open it up right after this. Joe Madison with the Joe Madison Show on Sirius XM. JoeMadison.com is his website. Stick around.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Visit ThomHartmann.com for audio and video archives.
And you can tweet Joe at Black Eagle Power. We'll be right back. And welcome back. We've got Joe Madison on the line with us. Joe, you're still there?
Oh, I'm still here.
Okay, great.
So is my grandson listening to this conversation.
Oh, great. Well, our greetings to your grandson. We are now talking to our Pacifica and Free Speech TV audience. And David in Victorville, California, watching us on Free Speech TV. You are on the air with Joe Madison.
My brother-in-law lives in Victorville, California. You're Roger territory.
Okay, I hope that's me you're referring to.
Not as Roy Rogers.
Okay, so here's the deal. I was one of the founders of the Latasha Hollins Justice Committee back in 92 or thereabouts, where you had a young girl who was murdered, but the criminal justice system dealt with the young black girl, Latasha Hollins, as though she was a perpetrator. Now, this was back in the 1990 area. Now, here we are, fast forward to where we're in 2014.
20 years later plus.
Where you have a system who did not, this has been a consistent thing, I guess, be historically on point since we landed here. But further as black people are concerned, I heard you talking about your sons, Joe, and them not tolerating or being of the mindset where this type of thing is readily acceptable. So now, my question to us, black people, I'll levy this out. When and how much longer do we continuously give deference and obedience to a system that we know and get our heart broke on a damn near daily basis in dealing with this injustice system? How long will we tolerate this? That would be my question to everyone listening. And how long does this system think that we're going to keep tolerating?
Thank you, David. Joe?
Well, and I understand it's a rhetorical question, and let me tell you, and David sounds like many of the callers that I have. Here's my question that I always ask my callers. What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? The reality is that most folks didn't vote in midterm elections. They allowed these ALECs and these state legislators to put this law through because we don't even know who our state legislators are. Now, I'm going to pull a page from Thom Hartmann's playbook. This is where, and correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, this is where you get down on the grassroots level. You show up at these committee meetings, these district meetings, these precinct meetings, and you demand that this law be repealed. That's number one. This is where organizations, I don't care if it's fraternities, sororities, churches, where they talk about selective buying campaigns. You know, somebody once said, you hit people in their pocketbooks, their hearts and minds will follow. So when you ask the question, how long are we going to tolerate it, we're going to tolerate it as long as we're apathetic. And that's why this law spread to 20-plus states, is because people were asleep. They don't know who their state legislator is. They've got your phone number to call in and make comments, Tom. They've got my phone number to call in and make comments, but they don't even have their state legislator or their congressman's number in their smartphone, and they don't make these calls, and that's how come this kind of thing is going on.
We'll be back with more of Joe Madison in just a second. Welcome back to Talk Media for the rest of us. It's the Thom Hartmann Program. Joe Madison with us, joemadison.com, host of the Joe Madison Show on Sirius XM. Joe, you got another 8 minutes to be with us, right?
Oh, yeah, man. I'm just like I'm in Washington, D.C. traffic, and I'm amazed at how clear this system sounds.
Yeah, no, it sounds just absolutely great.
And I appreciate it.
Okay, let's get some more calls here. Joe, listening in Chevy Chase, Maryland, on Progressive Voices. You're on the air with Joe Madison and me.
Yeah, thank you. A couple points to bring some neutrality to this whole thing. The main problem with the case in Florida was that they tried to get first-degree murder as opposed to second-degree murder. It's very clear the verdict would have been second-degree murder.
In Florida, the jury had the option of returning a second-degree murder conviction.
That's right.
They absolutely had that option. It was part of the jury instructions.
The second thing to list here, and I know it's not politically correct, but it's factual, and I'd be willing to have a nice, calm discussion about it, is that turning this whole thing into a racial thing is really,
it is a racial thing. Stop. I don't even want to start with that. And I'm sorry, Tom. It is a racial thing. And it's not a question of being rational. You know what really is ticking my audience off is the fact that the letters that man wrote from jail shows his state of mind towards black folk. And that really should have been brought into the trial, and it wasn't. The reality, it is a racial thing. It is him calling those young black kids thugs. He doesn't know what those kids were. They could have been president of the class. What he saw were 4 black faces. He had this predisposition that these kids were nothing but a bunch of young black thugs. And I'm telling you, for you to sit up there and suggest that it wasn't racial is absolutely absurd, and you're in denial. And therein lies the problem in this country. That's the problem in this country.
Yeah, Joe. Tonight on my TV show, I've got the Lone Liberal Rumble, and we've got 2 guys from 2 African Americans conservatives who I know from previous conversations are going to pretty much take a Clarence Thomas perspective on this. This is not a racial issue. Thoughts on how I should respond to that, to somebody who's actually African American?
What I would do is, I'd read the letters. I'd read his You know what I'd do? I'd have his staff pull out the letters he wrote from jail.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I would do. And then have them explain that. Look, we've had black people who thought slavery was okay because everybody had a job. I'm not worried about 2 black conservatives who think that, we're too sensitive about this.
Yeah, I got it.
This is absolutely absurd conversation to be having, and I'll tell you what it's like. It's like saying if a woman wears a short skirt, she deserves to be raped or be sexually molested. I mean, it's an absurd position. And first of all, the guy who just called in put it off wrong, and you had to correct him. But he had that authoritative voice.
Yeah.
Here's the facts. They should have tried him on that. Well, they could have changed the verdict right there in the jury room. So you had to correct him. Then he comes back with this, and here are the facts. This is not race. It's not a fact. It's an opinion. He's got an opinion. I've got an opinion. And quite candidly, I'm not going to have my opinion undervalued, underestimated, or marginalized by somebody who doesn't want to understand that this has been going on too long. It's almost similar to Emmett Till. Remember, Emmett Till was murdered in the most horrific way. They had a trial, and what happened in that trial? Those men were found innocent by the jury, walked out the courtroom, did an interview with a monthly publication, and laughed and said, "We actually murdered Emmett Till."
Yeah.
Now, how many examples do you need in America?
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you. Jay in Port St. Lucie, Florida. You're on the air with Joe Madison.
Good afternoon, Tom and Joe. Joe, I'm a listener to Urban Radio, so I hear you every morning.
Urban, thank you very much.
Yeah, I hear you. You want to know what am I going to do about it? I'm going to be with that demonstration. We're going up with Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson on the 10th of March up to Tallahassee to see the elected leaders up there. And I know who my representative is in my district in Port St. Lucie, and I talk to him at least once a week. And I let him know about what I feel like, but he has no power because the Republicans control Tallahassee. But we're going to be going up to demonstrate, and I just want to leave you with this: the sheriff of Pope County he's the president of the the Association for Law Enforcement in the state of Florida, and he said on CNN that his people support Stand Your Ground. Now, this is a law enforcement person who says he supports vigilante justice. He's
Joe.
the president of the Sheriff Association for the state of Florida.
Joe, your thoughts on Jay's comment?
Yeah. No, I mean, gee, the more things change, the more they stay the same. You know, we had sheriffs who were sergeant at arms for Ku Klux Klan folks. I mean, you know, we had ministers who were there who were chaplains. I mean, look, the reality is that I think we need to change the wording. Tom, and you and I do this a lot when we talk. I don't think it should be stand your ground. I think that's a misnomer. It ought to be shoot first. That's what it ought to be. And it's a dangerous, and as Congresswoman Corrine Brown said after the verdict on Saturday, it's a sloppy law. Mm-hmm. And that's what she said. It's a sloppy law. And I support the fact that the demonstrations are going to take place up in Tallahassee, because if the leadership doesn't do it, here's what's going to happen. Young white and black people are going to take the leadership on this. They're going to have the demonstrations. They're going to make the changes much the way they did in the 60s. Mm. You watch and see, because they're the victims of this. Remember, 120 plus young African Americans were shot using this shoot first in just the state of Florida. In the state of Florida.
Well, okay. Joe Madison, host of the Joe Madison Show, airing 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern on Sirius Channel 128, and his website, joemadison.com. Joe, it's always a pleasure having you on. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you.